This is Tony Chimmel, and I'd like to introduce the hosts of the Game Marks podcast, George Feis and Johnny Clash.
Welcome to the Game Marks podcast, where each and every week we break down the good, the bad, and the awesome of wrestling video games. My name is George Feis.
And I'm the man they call Johnny Clash, and today we are playing AEW Elite General Manager for the last time. How will this game hold up? Will it get a play it forever?
Woo!
Or a future endeavor?
You're fired!
We also discuss video game adaptations in movies and TV and a whole lot more.
And as always, guys, please make sure to subscribe and leave a 5-star rating for this podcast on both Apple Podcast and Spotify, and follow along on all forms of social media at Game Marks Pod. And don't forget, you can get access to our Discord and early and ad-free episodes of this podcast for just $5 over at patreon.com/GameMarksPod. Johnny Clash, my friend, how are we doing this week, sir?
Pretty good. I feel like a lot's going on with this game we're playing today, with just games in general, and
Oh yeah,
I'm ready.
It's an exciting time to be a gamer.
All-Star Pro Wrestling 3, though, the game we played last week, getting a lot of love on social media, either people who have played it and just are praising it. I haven't really heard anything bad, to be honest, or some gamers who haven't played it say, what is this? I need to find it. I gave some people some links, and hopefully more people know about it, play it, and see what happens. I'd like to see it more. So right now, if you Google this game, we come up in Google Images. I want to see more of that, like other people playing it. I want this game to blow up again.
That's cool, and I think that over the course of the life of the podcast, that has happened a few times where I've gone to go back and look up something from a game that we had played back when we were doing Future Endeavored for Patreon shows and stuff like that, and you'd Google a game name, and all of a sudden you'd see our artwork, and I'm like, wait a second, that's kind of cool. I didn't even realize. But yes, I am in the same mindset of
I want people to play it.
Yes, more people need to know about this game and a lot of the other maybe lesser known titles from overseas that maybe don't get the same amount of love here in the States.
Yeah, it's definitely one of our favorite series, and I don't know. You'll see what happens. Maybe we could stream or play some more on YouTube or something. Would be cool.
A lot of big things coming to YouTube. We got a lot of things planned.
A lot of things planned.
Just gotta find the time to do them.
As we're talking about Elite GM today, there was another AEW Rise to the Top, which had a soft launch in the Philippines. And I don't really know much about this game. I don't really know what it is. It kind of visually looked like the same art style as Elite GM, but a little different. I don't know. It's more Matt Groening-y, like Simpsons, Futurama, Family Guy.
So you made a reference to in our playthrough of Elite GM kind of looking like what would you say, Habbo Hotel?
Yeah.
I think this kind of leans a little bit more into it. Like this looks even a little bit more so like that.
Yeah, I believe this is more of like a narrative RPG game. The only thing is, I feel like there's just no shelf life for these games. Like, look at Elite GM. Everyone was kind of excited for it, and then dead in the water.
I think that overall, with the exception, I think that Supercard is the exception to the rule, and obviously,
look how much they change it every year.
Well, I would say, and Dickey games, most mobile wrestling games don't really have long shelf lives. Like think of over the course of the last 10 years, how many obscure WWE games have come and gone. And there's ones that we knew about, like Undefeated and Mayhem and things like that. But then you get games like John Cena's Fastlane and Rockpocalypse that we're like, wait, these were things? Like, what happened? Like, this is not like an obscure like Engage title game. Like, this was actually just like an iOS and Android game. So maybe no one has really cracked the code.
I think if we're talking mobile games, you have to just kind of expect that that's the case. Like, it's not going to last. Like, they only have a certain shelf life on them, and that's just okay.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think that's just where they're at. And I guess that's okay, because then something new usually comes along. Like Elite GM, End of Life, here comes Rise to the Top. So
yep,
as long as you keep cycling them, I guess that's okay.
Sunset from the App Store. Today's game, relatively recently, as of recording.
We're gonna get into it. We're gonna get it. Not yet.
But I'm saying, like, that goes to prove your point. You know, very similar art styles. Maybe there's something to that. Maybe this is like the next step. Maybe there's going to be in this new Rise to the Top game, maybe there is an aspect of like, hey, this is a RPG-esque based game, but there's also a GM aspect to it. Maybe this is like the next iteration of what this game becomes, but only time will tell. Yeah. We'll have to see when it gets released fully globally on the App Store. But anything new, John? Anything new in the old gaming Rolodex for you?
Back on GTA 5. I felt bad. I was, me and my daughter hanging out, just us. And I was playing GTA while she was sleeping, and it just felt weird. I'm like, well, we only got a few more months before I can't play this during the day anymore.
Yeah.
Same with movies, TV. I'm like, we're watching Narcos. I'm like, we can't watch this in like 3 months.
So you gotta finish that quickly.
Yeah. But it's okay. It's okay. I just forget, just even taking Franklin, going to get a haircut, putting some tattoos on him, just running amok around the city. Just so much fun. Like, I randomly, like, accidentally hit a guy with a car in front of a cop. Automatic 2 stars. Now the cops are chasing me. Jump up onto a rooftop using a ladder. Hiding on the rooftop. You see the cops under you, like the lights, and you're like, oh, I'm good. Next thing you know, a cop's up on the ladder. Why are you looking up here? And then you gotta shoot him, and now you got 4 stars. There's a helicopter after you. It's crazy.
Now, what's your tactic to avoid the helicopters? Because I feel like everyone's got different ones.
Well, when you're Franklin, you use his special ability, like the driving ability.
Yep.
And I usually go down into like the ravine, where that little ravine they have there, or you could go into like the hilly area.
Yep, that's mine. I usually go into the hilly area. I know a lot of people that will immediately just go into like the train, under the train tunnels and stuff like that. But I always thought that was always such an interesting, like,
so much fun.
How do you avoid that? Because there's so many ways to accomplish the same thing. Like, what's your chosen method of doing it?
Oh, it's just so good. I feel like this is the first Grand Theft Auto game where you didn't need cheats. Not that you need them, but it was fun to use them in every other game. Like 3, you needed them. Vice City, you needed them.
San Andreas with the jetpack.
Yeah, 4 like encouraged you to use them, but you didn't need them. Like you could put them right in the phone. But I feel like this is the first one where like you don't need the unlimited money or the unlimited ammo. Like, it's just so easy to get. Yeah,
because there's enough small things that you can do here and there to get the money.
Yeah, it's so nice. Just going back. This is, again, 3rd playthrough of this game, and it's like riding a bike.
Getting itchy. I have it installed. I just might have to pick it up between you and Swoggle talking about it.
Oh, that's one thing me and him are going to agree on. But all right, enough about that. Are we ready to get our GM hats on? Are you ready to be Tony Khan?
This is as ready as I'll ever be to assume that role. And probably about as ever qualified as I will be. But yes, John, let's
probably
do
as qualified as Tony Khan. All right. Are you ready?
Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, the deep dive. All right. AEW Elite General Manager released. You've been planning that the whole day.
All right.
Okay. Released July 15th, 2021 for Android and iOS. Published by AEW Games. Developed by Crystallized Games. Other wrestling-based video games you have in 2021. You've got WWE Champions, which is a game that John and I have put a lot of time into. You've got WWE Undefeated, which we spoke about earlier. Action Arcade Wrestling, Wrestling Empire, Retromania Wrestling, and New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong Spirits.
So many mobile games here, and then Retromania and Action Arcade, which aren't even main title releases. This was coming off the pandemic, so it was all mobile games and small studio games. No WWE console release in 2021. Crazy. Something.
Why is that again? Remind
because
maybe
of
remind
2K20. Just craziness. And that really, it should 2K22 should have been released in 2021, but they pushed it to Mania time. So it actually comes out the year that it says, not the year prior, like most sports games.
Which, you know what, took me a really long time to figure out why that was as a child. And I was like, how come every game that comes out is the wrong year? I don't understand.
It makes sense for like sports games because you're working on the next season, but like wrestling games, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, because
there's no season.
They're already outdated as it is. And then you start throwing in a year ahead, and all of a sudden the person that has a completely different look now is just like, wait a second, this was supposed to be in the future? What's happening?
Yeah. Now, I might be wrong here, but I kind of remember Elite GM being announced around the time 2K20 was flopping. 2K21 was announced not coming out. People saying they want a GM mode, and AEW said, here you go.
Yeah, we're like very much in the pandemic.
Yeah, if you go back in our episodes, we're probably talking about that.
Yeah.
But
we had pretty good coverage of this game as it was being announced because we actually talked about it during our playthrough video.
And my friends are in it. It was like some of my friends' first games.
I was going to say, this was super cool because not only is it your friends, they're friends of the show. People have been on the podcast before. People that you trained with for a number of years. Like this was a lot of firsts for a lot of people. And then I think we may have even mentioned back then that this is the closest, because we don't really count Casino. What was it? What was Casino Battle Royale? What was it called?
AEW Double or Nothing Casino? Was that
Casino Double or Nothing.
Still a thing?
I think that has also been sunset, but I could be wrong. But this, we all kind of
Game Rant article. AEW's first game accused of being a reskin. No shit.
Yeah, well,
it was literally a reskin.
Hindsight. Yeah. But I think a lot of people, us included, considered this to be the AEW's like first real game because it was its own thing. It actually kind of revolved around wrestling. It was set in a wrestling environment and not so much a casino. So we were very excited. I think the coverage that we did during the release of the game, a lot of the things that we talked about just now about how excited we were to see our friends in the game and all that, that excitement was very much felt then. And then going through the roster in our playthrough today, which is probably going to be experienced once again when we read through the list later, it brings back that same kind of feeling. Like, it's awesome to see your friends doing cool things and being in video games.
Now, I remember, were you on the beta list for this game also?
Yes, I was.
So I remember it released, and this is like you said, prime pandemic. We're working from home. Well, occasionally I would have to go into New York City, into my office.
Yep.
And when this came out, when the beta hit, this was one of those days that I actually had a long commute. So I thought it was perfect.
Yeah,
because
I remember your train days.
Yeah, so this was on the train. I remember it being like so creepy. That a station that used to be like full of people, there was no one at the station. I was just waiting for my train, just me, no one else, and I was playing this game. I think the worst part about this game and the beta, which I remember writing my feedback in, and I don't remember if it got corrected or not, but I definitely gave feedback towards the end when they asked. You run through the 10-part career mode, which is the tutorial,
Okay.
But then when the game releases, not too long after, you have to do it again.
Yeah.
And it's not quick. So after I did it on the beta, I started doing it again on the real version, and I said, I can't do this again.
Because it's not short.
No, it drags on. You got Tony and Taz talking, Excalibur, and those take up so much of your time just scrolling through them.
And then there's bits where they're throwing to someone else, and then Taz
Right.
interrupts, and
I can say now that I can't really dive into much of this game anymore. I do regret not playing through it in its entirety. But, am I really missing out? I don't know. Also, in the AEW Games Discord, which is a place you do not want to be because it is horrible. Where do they get these Discord admins from, by the way?
it's the Wild West.
Like any Discord server you go in for any game, there's an overly aggressive admin. Any one of them.
Yeah.
I got yelled at in the AEW Games server for talking about Elite GM in the Elite GM server, saying, hey, please keep in mind, this is only for Elite GM. And I wrote, yeah, like, no shit. That's exactly what I'm talking about right now.
What else am I supposed to talk about here?
But the number one player in the world, which is, I don't know if that's a good title to have, is actually in the server. And he made a video about it sunsetting and all that. And we kind of briefly spoke about the game. And I don't know, it was kind of cool. But the Discord is an absolute abyss you do not want to go down. But there is cool Fight Forever updates. So that's another thing.
And that's where the big thing for Discord now, especially in the world of game development, one, it gives you a lot of access to developers and their state of the unions and where they are in their development, and then you also kind of get an inside scoop on updates that are coming up. I know that you and I are both a part of we follow Snap, and we're part of all the things that happen for Marvel Snap, so all the updates that come through with that. We've got a lot of updates on a lot of different channels for that. And,
Harry Potter Quidditch Champions, playtest.
AEW, very similar. You get a lot of information on things that are coming, features coming for, when this game was active, and for Fight Forever. You get a little bit of inside scoop of before, all the gaming dirt sheets get it.
And then there's our Discord, which is just a pile of shit posts that, we just love. All right, let's get into what this game is. It's kind of an evolution of the GM mode that you're used to in, I think both GM modes that we got in 2K22 and this are very far off from the old GM modes that people wanted from the SmackDown vs. Raw series.
Yeah.
I don't know which one works best. I think this AEW one has more of a RPG-ish feel to it, like a story feel, like career mode, rather than just making matches and letting them play out. You can, but that's really not the bread and butter here, and that's really not what you're going to want to do to keep yourself entertained.
Yeah, I agree with you what you said about how the older ones didn't really have necessarily a story driving or a scoring system. Even it was just, hey, you make matches, the random number generators picks things, and you can either swap around your card, you can play the matches, you can skip the matches, you can pick your main person and you just play all their matches. If you wanted to play every single match on the card, you could, but you kind of had to make the stories up in your head as things went on, whereas this has a driving backstory, and the chaos kind of fills in the blanks of who's doing what and where.
Yeah, and I do like what all the features they put in it, as far as use the gimmicks, unlock different arenas, like the pay-per-view arenas and all that, and they weren't easy to unlock. The
challenges drive the stories is what is the simplified version of what I was trying to say.
Now,
not
guy,
so much a story.
JV, that's his name, JV37, the top player in the world. He just unlocked all 3 arenas recently, it seemed. I think there's 5 or 6 arenas recently. So it can't be easy to do if the top player in the world just did it not too long ago. But cool thing that you can do it. And that's another thing that makes you want to play the game. Unlock this, unlock that. You see in our playthrough, even the avatar system, you get hats. I could put John Silver in a funny little hat or a t-shirt. And that's another thing you can unlock with Adam Cole's streetwear and Cody Rhodes' 9 different outfits.
Yeah. It's a little extra something. It's how you keep the game fresh. You're not looking at the same sprites. You can, and you talk about it in our playthrough. We're going to get into it in a little bit. The size of the roster, it's big. There are a lot of options, a lot of sprites, but there is a downside. A lot of the sprites are outdated, and as you mentioned in our playthrough, a lot of the people who are actually in the game are no longer with the company.
A lot of them
for better or for worse. But talk about some of these game modes and how you can set up these match types, because they give you a nice amount for GM. You've got a one-on-one, a triple threat, a tag team, a fatal 4-way, 3v3, 6-way, 2v2v2, 3v3v3, and a 5 versus 5. Which honestly, all I want to do is use the WWE terms for them and be like, that's what I was like,
Survivor Series.
Yeah, Survivor Series or 4-way dance, and
Yeah. But let's talk about how to actually put these together. So,
because that's the bread and butter of the whole game.
Yeah, so when you get in there, you are given a certain amount of money, and with that money, you buy a wrestler. It obviously goes by the popularity of the wrestler. Like Cody Rhodes might be like 35,000.
Yep.
Where
Chuck Taylor's like 15.
Yeah. I was going to use someone even lower than that, but Chuck Taylor works for this, I guess. Hey, they won. Trent won on Dynamite. And,
no, listen.
It was a good best friend segment.
Not a knock on the quality of the wrestler. It's just what they.
I was going to say Caesar Bonani or whatever the hell his name is.
Yeah.
He was like 10K.
Oh, I don't know. I thought the lowest was 15, but yeah, I guess
it could be. It could be. I don't know. I don't want to put them in the same boat. And then you buy your wrestlers, you make your matches, which, as George just said, all of those match types you could pick, but they all cost money, so keep that in mind as well. You could equip weapons that you unlock, which would give you slight advantages, and you make your match. It shows a brief, 15-second animation of a match doing a couple moves.
Yeah,
game ends.
The whole match is...
and then it gives you a score, and it's out of 3 stars, and some challenges are get 3 stars, some are based on popularity, some are based on money, and that's really how you advance in the game, is making more money, getting more stars, and just being a good general manager.
Yeah, and you start off with your 3 matches, and then your what do they call like the backstage segments? It's I
think they're
just segments, right?
There's some funny stuff in there. There's like backstage brawls and all that. There's political campaigns.
It's things to add a little bit more flair, and they did a good job of making it so that you didn't have to look at the same stuff all the time. Where like you could.
It does get repetitive though.
Yeah, but they did their best to add stuff in there to like now
wasn't mad at it.
Yeah, it's not annoyingly repetitive, but yeah, it's very repetitive.
Yeah. Okay, but are we ready for this roster here? Because it's a big one. But I do want to read all of it, because most of these, if not 90% of these, are names we have never read before on this podcast. And it's
do you want to kick us off, or would you like me to do it?
I'll kick us off, and then I'll tag you in.
All right, tag me in.
All right, your AEW Elite General Manager roster. You have 10. Aaron Solo, Abaddon, Adam Page, Alan Angels, Alex Reynolds, Ali, Angelico, Anna Jay, Anthony Bowens, Austin Gunn, Bear Boulder, Bear Bronson, Big Swole, Billy Gunn, The Blade, Brandy Rhodes, Brandon Cutler, Brian Cage, The Butcher, Cash Wheeler, Chris Jericho, Christian Cage, Christopher Daniels, Chuck Taylor, Cody Rhodes, Colt Cabana, Colton Gunn, Dante Martin, Darby Allin, Darius Martin, Dax Harwood, Diamante, Dr. Britt Baker, Dustin Rhodes, Eddie Kingston, Emi Sakura, Ethan Page, Evil Uno, Frankie Kazarian, Griff Garrison, whatever happened to him, Hikaru Shida, Isaiah Cassidy, Jack Evans, Jay Cargill, Jake Hager, Joey Janela, John Silver, John Moxley, Jungle Boy, Kenny Omega, Kip Sabian, Chris Statlander, Lance Archer, Lee Johnson, Leva Bates, Layla Hirsch, Luchasaurus, Luther, whatever happened to him, Marco Stunt, Mark Quinn, Matt Hardy, Matt Jackson, Matt Seidel, Max Caster, Michael Nakazawa, Miro, MJF, Mr. Brody Lee, Mike Oh, Mike. That's not even Mike. Nick Camarado. Okay, you're in.
Nick Camarado, Nick Jackson, Nyla Rose, Orange Cassidy, Ortiz, Pac, Penelope Ford, Penta L0M, Peter Avalon, QT Marshall, Red Velvet, Ray Phoenix, Ricky Starks, Rio, Mizunami, Sammy Guevara, Santana, Scorpio Sky, Serena Deeb, Serpentico, Sean Spears, Sonny Kiss, Sting, Stu Grayson, Ty Conti, Trent Wardlow, Will Hobbs, and Yuka Sakazaki. Now, here's the cool thing. Throughout the course of the life of this game, with big updates came new wrestlers. So, we're going to go through those now. So, in the 1.1.0 update, you got Andrade El Idolo, Anthony Ogogo, Brian Pillman Jr., Caesar Bononi, CM Punk, JD Drake, Julia Hart, Malachi Black, -1, Ryan Nemeth, Sean Dean, Thunder Rosa, and Wheeler Yuta.
Now, update 1.2, you got Adam Cole, Brian Danielson, Daniel Garcia, Fuego del Sol, Jeff Parker, Kiera Hogan, Matt Lee, Paul White, and Ruby Soho.
And in the 1.3.0 update, you got Bobby Fish, Fuego 2, Hook, Jamie Hayter, Lee Moriarty, Leo Rush Rebel, and Sky Blue.
And now the latest update from April 4th, you got Jay Lethal, Jeff Hardy, Keith Lee, and Kyle O'Reilly. And of course, you got your NPCs, Alex Marvez, Doc Samson, Excalibur, Taz, and Tony Schiavone, who are constantly showing up on your screen throughout this game.
They are the most featured part of this game, and it's you know what? Let them get their time. It's good. It's a big roster, man. Even without
really
the
roster.
updates, it's a big roster.
Now, I think because, you have to say like almost 100% because of the style of the game, it's got to be really easy to just add people to this game.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a huge roster. I mean, even the base roster was really big. I guess you have to be if you're doing a GM mode.
Yeah.
And
you got to have
pretty on top of like who signed with the company, like CM Punk, Cole, Danielson. They came out really quickly. I mean, Jeff Hardy showed up super fast in this game.
Yeah, well, I feel like that's part of the double-edged sword of the game. Like, you can put together, once you're later on in the game and you've got, enough money, you could be putting together an entire card that's the 5v5 and a 5v5 and a 5v5. And you need to have enough wrestlers where, one, their stats don't change, too frequently throughout the course of the night. And then also make it so that there's enough wrestlers that it's, entertaining. You can have different matchups. And if you are trying to push a faction that you built or whatever, that you can have enough competition where it's not always the same matches with the same outcomes. And I think between that and the segments plus the wild cards of adding in weapons and they do enough to make it cool. And there are some animations that I wish were different. But with that, I actually think it's a pretty good spot for us now to jump into the overall presentation and appearance of the game. So let's talk about this artwork here, John. What do you think about the cover art for the promotional where you see all the wrestlers? And then also, let me hear your thoughts on this Elite GM logo.
I mean, it speaks to the AEW logo. It's pretty on brand. It's cool. It looks nice. I like the Dynamite stage.
Yeah.
I really miss the old Dynamite stage. I feel like the new one's just kind of like when Impact tried to be Raw. Like it's just so basic, and it's like the graphics on it are cool, but I don't know, something about that little like chandelier light thing. It was so different, and I get it. It was like small, and they couldn't use it in a lot of places, and they had to only bring the bottom half. But man, seeing it again, especially this week on Dynamite 200, I was like,
I do miss it. I do miss it.
I hope one day give me like a happy medium between the two.
I'll say they'll definitely do another rebrand soon after, another 2 or 3 years or whatever. And then we'll be around with something new. It'll be cool.
Yeah. But I really like this artwork. It's right on brand with, good mobile game, and that's what it is. Great artwork, great. I want to say like the shadow work and like makes it like comic booky, but
It's like cell
more drawn
shaded.
out. Yeah, it's cool. I like it. Like an episode of Family Guy.
Yeah, that's a very good comparison.
Now, the actual icons for the game are the Elite GM logo. The first rendition had the AEW logo with it, with the stage in the background and the ring with the TNT logo. And as we mentioned in our playthrough, the TNT logo is plastered everywhere in this game, and it's just another thing that never got updated when they moved to TBS. But the latest and the current, I'll show you right here on my phone.
EGM.
The current logo, if you can see here next to my Uber Eats app because I'm fat, it is Keith Lee and Jeff Hardy. It's the newest update of the game, and I think it's a pretty good visual. To the casual fan, you'll definitely know Jeff Hardy, though maybe not fully face painted up like this, but it's a very cool visual.
I think that it is bright and eye-catching in the sense of what's on his face, but I agree with what you said, that
it shows what the game is.
Casual wrestling fans may be like, oh,
they're
that's
like, oh,
Jeff
is that
Hardy now.
Sting, and I don't know who Keith Lee is, but it's showing what the update is. You're not going to put, what's his name? Like Kyle O'Reilly in there. I don't know. But the actual art style, we mentioned before, it's very cartoony. Every single thing is illustrated. I think within the menus and the actual wrestlers, their colors are all on brand. It's all matching. There's like a slight disconnect between the cleanliness. Like, I like clean artwork. I like no gradients. Yeah. Like simple, sleek designs. I think there's a little bit of a childish aspect to the menus and
they leaned a little too hard into the
that.
cartoon.
They did later on give it like a slight upgrade where everything was less shiny looking and a little bit smaller, especially when choosing your matches, and a little less cell shady. But yeah. I would have liked to see what this game evolved into later on, but it didn't evolve that much in its existence in 2 years. So
that's what Rise and Fall is going to be. We'll see. I'm with you on it. There are some things that they did that I thought were nice little touches, in the sense of like they had a very good use of like bevels and strokes around their objects. I didn't think that was like an overly an overdone trope, but I think the gradients are really what kills it. To your point, it's just it's very distracting. It's all over the place, and it's consistent in the sense of they use the same gradient for the icons, but when you've got 6 icons on the screen and all of them have the same gradient, it kind of gets lost. And I much rather prefer where it's just like the shapes with either a drop shadow or just a black outline and things like that. But
I agree.
Let's talk about how you set up the matches. We talked about like actually setting up via the mechanics of the dragging and selecting your match types and things like that. But let's talk about the actual visuals of it, because you literally just pick and drag the wrestlers into the ring. Depending on the match type that you pick, you'll get a plus sign for the number of combatants in the ring, and then you can just drag people over from your roster page, and you can form tag teams. You can make new teams and use existing teams and go from there.
If you use real teams, you do get a slight boost. So if you use the Hardys or the Acclaimed or something, you will get a boost over like MJF and Adam Cole, who is a real tag team.
Real tag team, but not in this game.
Not in the game. So that's something to be mindful of. Also, the strengths and weaknesses of the wrestler and their styles, their gimmicks, that's also going to play a factor into
fatigue,
your score in the end.
All that.
I absolutely love what the stage looks like. I love the visual where it shows you zooming into the stage, zooming out of the stage. The camera is awesome. And I like the hit markers. The wrestlers are a little cardboardy where they don't move much during the match. I would like to see a little more animations. There's no I guess we could say articulation. Wrong podcast. I get it, but
it's just it is. It's just they went, okay, I need a clothesline, like sprite. I need a taking damage sprite, and I need a what a jumping strike, a kicking strike, and a damage animation or a damage sprite. And then they were okay. What's the in between animation going to look like? And they're like, no in between animation. Things are going to happen. The sprite's going to change, and that's enough.
Yeah. But it's visually all just you'll watch this game as if you're watching like you said, a Newgrounds game or like a really flashy game.
I say it feels flash.
Mucha Lucha or something, and it's nice.
I will say this though,
nice
the effects that they did in the actual like during the match, the lighting effects are cool. The pyro, the puffs of the colored smoke are cool, and the effects of the wrestlers when they're hitting moves, like the ghost trails and the impacts that you talked about before of when moves connect and stuff like that. Those are actually cool. Add a little bit something extra. Are they as high renders as the explosions and animations in Supercard? No, but if you had that effect in this game, it would feel very out of place. But I think all of the effects that they did,
there's good pyro.
Yeah, and it fits in line with the rest of the game. Like there's effects that are on theme and on brand, which is cool. Helps with the immersion.
I feel like it's about that time where I start playing Supercard and then forget about it for another year.
Oh yeah,
that's coming.
I do that. I do that like once or
did
twice
you know,
a year.
Did you know Elite General Manager's first patch saw a new season pass titled Season of Punk and ranked multiplayer, new wrestlers, and some new career story modes?
Did you know referee Bob Edwards was on the Elite GM project and previously worked on 12 different video games?
Did you know just 2 years after its release, AEW Elite GM has closed up shop on July 28th, 2023. So,
damn.
We announced this game before we knew that. And I downloaded it, and I remember it saying like, oh, whatever, download from the cloud, because I've previously had it, so I just did. I didn't think anything of it. When our Discord heard the last week's episode early, a bunch of them started to try to download the game, and it wasn't there anymore. And that's when I went into the AEW Discord, and let me read you the cesspool. I don't even know if it's still here, to be honest. Oh, I'm still the last. No one talks about it anymore. I wrote, does anyone know why this was pulled from the App Store? Is there a link or an article about it? We are covering the game, blah, blah, blah. Someone sent me Aubrey Edwards' post, which was only, if I scrolled up, it was right there, and it says, hey, Elite GMs, we want to thank you for playing the last 2 years. On July 28th, we'll be pulling Elite General Manager from iOS and Google Play Store to make way for some new and exciting things from AEW games. We said before what that was going to be. This means you won't be able to download after July 28th. However, those with the app installed in their devices will still be able to play. We'll be keeping the servers up for an indefinite amount of time so our GMs can continue to book their dream matches. Thank you for all your support the last 2 years. We can't wait to share what's next. From the AEW Elite GM team. So that's what it said. And then now that I look at it, I asked that the person who sent it to me was the admin. I said thanks. Now that JV guy sent me the video about the announcement. And also, if you're interested in a guest on the pod to discuss, I mean, what's he going to talk about? How good he is at the game? And then the admin said, hey guys, this is a chat for Elite GM. Just a heads up. And I said, that's what we're doing. And then someone else wrote, hey, is this the chat for Elite GM? And they wrote, yes. I love, you know whose is the worst? Virtual Basements. They have the worst admin. I don't know where they find these people.
I don't know. We're not cut out for that kind of work. Well, with that, we talked about it already, but do you think that Elite GM has laid a good foundation in the AEW mobile landscape for rise to the top?
I think it's stale enough where people aren't like so sour on it, and they're ready for something new. So I think it'll be fun.
Okay.
And then if it is like a tech style RPG type game, I don't know, like that leaves a lot more room for updates and new stuff.
Yeah. And listen, if you're on Discord, check out that AEW Games
Don't do it.
Discord. Well, to get insider knowledge and get the scoop on things that are happening. If for nothing else, just lurk and check out. No one says that you actually have to be in there posting like Clash does. I'm in there mainly just
That's
to,
the only time I've
read.
ever posted in it.
I know, but if you want to just get updates, that's cool. But all right, John, let's talk about some ratings and reviews for this game. What do you got?
Okay, so we're going to go with the Google Play Store here, which over almost 3,500 votes, this gets a 2.7 out of 5. And then the Apple Store, you get a 3.2 out of 5, which both of those are not that bad. They're right down the middle. I mean, this is a very niche style of game to begin with. So you either do love it or you hate it or you keep playing it or you don't.
What do you think today will hold for you after playing through this? Is this going to stay on your phone?
We're not up to that part yet, but if you want to ease in, would you look at the time?
Oh, look at that. It's time to rate the game.
The game!
All right, Johnny Clash, answer my question. Is this going to be a game that stays on your phone for a little bit longer, at least until Rise to the Top comes, knowing that at any point you could just re-download it from the cloud? What I'm really asking you, John, AEW Elite GM, will you play it forever or future endeavor?
You're fired!
I think I like knowing the fact that I can keep it or get rid of it and still be able to download it from the cloud until the servers are shut off. I'm going to say future endeavor. It's not my kind of game.
You're fired!
Okay.
I can't hold on to the fact that my friends are in it, and I also don't want to keep it, but I feel like I have to if we ever need to use it, like for pod related stuff. But I'm going future. Future endeavor.
In what world, under what circumstances do you see us coming back to this game? I'm just curious.
Maybe when the new game comes out, we say, "Hey, what did AEW Elite GM do instead of this?" Blah blah blah. Maybe I don't know.
Listen,
what was Max Caster's first game he was ever in?
Oh, we do the incarnation of
We could do
wait.
the incarnation of Bear Bronson.
No.
We could get
You know what I want to do in a couple
of
years?
virtual basements that won't ever come out.
In a couple of years, I want to do a Cap incarnation.
That would be cool.
And we could get Brian on, and he doesn't have to know anything about video games, but he could just talk about how cool it is to see a bunch of his students in video games.
I'm kind of on board with that. We need to think that through a little bit more, and I think we can make that happen.
I think we need to wait for more games to come out. Because right now it's you've got three games, and it's
well, maybe we could even discuss the games that are out and then revisit it again.
Ask Brian if he did the mocap for people's entrances because he knows them so well. All right.
What about you, George?
Oh no, I was gonna skip me.
You can't skip you.
Yeah, it's fine. No, I'm with you. It's cool. I appreciate it for what it is. It's not my cup of tea. I've tried multiple times over the years in multiple different games to be a GM fan, and it's just not my cup of tea. Shout out, kudos to everyone else who digs it. Not a knock against the game by any means. It's a great game. It looks awesome. It plays well. But the GM style game is just not my thing. So
You're fired!
I gotta also give it a future endeavor from a gameplay standpoint. But if you do enjoy the GM style of the game, check it out if you haven't. Find a way to play
Well,
it.
only if you've had it.
APKs are available online. You can get it. There's ways to emulate iOS and Android on your phone, transfer APKs, and install on your own phone.
Yeah, I guess you can.
But yeah, with that, John, are you ready to jump into this week's Soft Lock? It's a doozy. All right, the Soft Lock is a weekly segment where one of our mega marks from our Patreon gives us a topic to discuss, debate. It's a question of the week. We just gave it a fancy name. This week, the question comes from Mr. Justin Summers. And Justin's question is, with the release of the Twisted Metal series on Peacock, pick a video game that hasn't been turned into a movie or TV series and cast who is who. Also, will it be a TV series or a movie?
So hard mode of this, of course, they said I can't pick Gears of War.
Okay, here's my immediate low-hanging fruit answer. Give me a short series of GTA 5 with the voice actors as the characters, because they are actually modeled after the characters. So I thought
You
that
can't watch The Walking Dead without thinking this.
Yes. Is he in Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul? The actor who does Trevor.
Trevor? I don't remember him in Breaking Bad.
He's either in Breaking Bad or he's in Better Call Saul, but he has this thing with Mike in, I just can't remember in which one it is. But he's like the hitman, I think. He plays a hitman in Breaking Bad, I think.
I don't know why I don't remember that.
I
did,
could be wrong. Could just be the same two actors, and it's not affiliated with any series, but I just associate that one guy with Breaking Bad.
Stephen Ogg.
Yes, Stephen Ogg is Trevor.
That one definitely Better Call Saul.
Okay, so it is Better Call Saul.
I didn't watch that, but that did cross my mind, a GTA series, and then I thought like, you could just use the real actors, which
that's
actually
super
kind of cool.
Super easy, low hanging fruit. Definitely not my answer, but it's an easy, and it would be one that would work.
I think we've definitely answered this in the past, but it's good to revisit because so much has come out.
Yeah, things change all the time.
The Last of Us exists. We fantasy booked that, and it really happened.
We did. We did.
If they could cram all however many hours of Death Stranding into a game, you already have your lead actors.
That's true.
You have Norman Reedus right there.
It's true.
I think that would do some justice.
I mean, I want to say Legend of Zelda would be great, but who do you cast, and two, which game do you pick? It's
Ryan Reynolds. No matter what, the answer is Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds, yeah. So we do Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, and Ryan Reynolds is Link. No, that's a tough one to pick. Timothy Chalamet as Link.
I mean, if we're going Gears of War, there's so many cool characters. I mean, Terry Crews is the Coltrane. Who would play Baird?
Oh, you could put Batista in it because Batista's already in Gears of War.
That's where I think we already spoke about this and we mentioned that.
Yeah.
But I don't like Batista as Marcus Phoenix.
But maybe that's the reason that they said that you can't pick it, because we already did it.
Maybe.
Like two or 3 years ago. And I think we even said Halo then, which is...
I would love another shot at Halo. Like a movie, get rid of that show that came out. I'm trying to look at my library. I thought actually downloaded the Walking Dead Telltale games, which I played a long time ago and started getting back into that.
What about Trek to Yomi?
I just looked at that. That would be a cool one.
Trek to Yomi would be a cool one because it would be a mostly or predominantly black and white game.
Ooh.
Or black and white movie. Be cool.
You think there could ever be a Sims game? Like there was just a Barbie movie. You think a Sims movie is possible?
As long as they play it off as that
a green bubble over their head,
like an existential crisis of who keeps removing the ladder from the pool?
No one can talk. They're just going.
But they've got all celebrity cameos, and all of them are speaking in Simlish.
That would be an awesome sitcom.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. That's a good, like, feel good, like, stupid, silly movie that you just go
Put,
because
like
you
Ellie
want to see
Kemper
something.
in it.
Yeah, and but you have like all
Oh.
the people who like didn't Katy Perry record a song for one of the Sims games? Like you have her
maybe.
in as a cameo and she does stuff.
Wait.
Was there already a Sim show?
Oh, there was a reality competition show, The Sims Spark, that was out in 2020.
Okay.
It's featured 12 contestants that known to feature The Sims in their online gaming, tasked with challenges within The Sims. Oh, no, that's not what we want. They had to
Okay.
do challenges within the game.
All right.
We want like people sitting on a couch.
I would like a
couch
Rocket League
changes
show, but like it's like a reality show where people are actually like playing car soccer, and it's like a off-brand
Or just-
ESPN show.
Or what's that Jason Statham movie? Death Race?
Oh yeah, Death Race.
Is that Jason Statham?
He's in one of. There's like 5 of them, I think.
Yeah, but it's Rocket League. Like they just take it seriously.
What about
Wait, Fortnite?
That's what I was just gonna say. I was like, but how do you do it?
A lot of licenses.
So the problem with Fortnite is everyone knows multiplayer Fortnite, but Fortnite also has a like campaign that's like a survival.
Save the world, right?
Yeah, and
I
that
played
has
that. It
its
was
own
alright.
unique storyline that would actually probably be really good translated, but I don't think anyone really knows it from the sense of
Yeah.
like that's not what Fortnite is known for.
So I'm looking through our Discord at what other people said. We have Donkey Kong after seeing the Mario movie would be cool.
Among Us,
A Kirby movie. Oh, Among Us.
like a murder mystery Among Us.
Wasn't that going to be a thing?
I think so. I
Oh.
mean, Among Us came
Crash.
and went so
Yeah.
quickly.
Crash Bandicoot, Banjo Kazooie, Spyro.
Kingdom Hearts would be
Maybe some
cool.
Ripto's Rage.
What about-
Outlast is the one I said. The horror game.
Yeah,
That would be cool. That would be a good horror movie.
and they're making a. They already did, didn't they? Hold
Remember
on.
Monkey Balls?
Monkey Ball? I do remember Monkey Ball. Did they do a Tekken movie? I can't remember.
There's just so many possibilities.
Oh yeah, there is a Tekken movie. What?
I still have not watched the most recent Mortal Kombat movie.
Oh, it's actually really good.
Tekken 2010.
I gotta watch this Tekken
Oh,
movie.
who's that? Who's that in the white? You know what I'm talking about.
And what?
I don't know. In the IMDb screenshot.
For what?
Tekken.
Oh. I don't know who that is. Oh,
Okay.
she plays Christy.
I would like to watch Mortal Kombat, though. That's on the list. All right. I mean, we got
Strange.
plenty of options here, and I do actually want to watch Twisted Metal on Peacock, so I will be starting that soon.
Oh,
See
man.
see Samoa Joe in action.
Ooh. What about like Apex Legends,
Not my thing.
Counter-Strike?
I think a Call of Duty movie or show is
Happening, yeah. That is happening.
I'm going with The Sims as my final answer, with featuring what's his name? Cal Penn and Ellie Kemper. I want that sitcom.
Trying to figure out who would I cast as Zelda. We'll do Timothy Chalamet as Link, and we'll do oh god, what's the girl from Cobra Kai? Peyton something is her name.
Peyton.
She plays the badass chick.
Yeah. What's her name? The Tori, whatever. Peyton List.
Yeah, Tori is her name. Yeah.
See, I would go Luna Lovegood
Oh yeah, she would also be.
as Zelda.
And then I would just I'd make Daniel Radcliffe Link.
Yeah, okay.
just might as well. Might as well. No, that's what I like. I like Peyton List and Timothy Chalamet as Link and Zelda, and then for who's like a big angry person that could be Ganondorf.
John Goodman.
Actually, he's really good. He's got the voice for it. No, honestly, John Cena as Ganondorf would be kind of cool because he's like a
see
big like imposing force, and it would be a different role for Cena because usually he plays a good guy. All right, cool. Let us know what you would cast, what game and how you would cast it for this week's Soft Lock question. And Justin, thank you very much for that question.
Shout out to Justin. He did
Huge.
his podcast, Wrestle Cheers. It was called something else before that. For a decade, finally hanging it up for about a year before he jumps into another venture. Good for him. It's always a fun listen. I did the show 2 years ago, maybe. So that episode's out there. God knows what I said, but it's out there, and good for him. Can't wait to see what he does next. Good guy.
Oh yeah, awesome
Even though
guy.
He's currently yelling at me in our Discord for a movie choice, but we'll get into that another time.
I'm with you on that movie choice. So
thank God, you and TK.
Here we go. Next week on the podcast, John, we're doing something very, very different. It was an idea that I had proposed to you, and we just kind of ran with it. And now it's something way bigger than we thought that it was going to be. We're taking a little inspiration here from another IP. And next week on the podcast, we are doing Game Marks podcast, What If? So if you are at all familiar with the Marvel series, What If? Pretty much they just throw in out hypothetical questions like, what if Thor wasn't worthy? And then they had a whole comic series about that. And they also had a mini series on Disney Plus. It's what if T'Challa was taken up by Yondu and became Star-Lord instead of Peter Quill. So we're going to kind of approach wrestling video games with that frame of mind. What if there was another THQ AKI game for the N64? What if THQ and AKI never switched over to WWF? What if they just stayed with WCW and kept making games? Things like that. That will be the whole episode. We'll just throw a bunch of questions out there. We'll talk about them for a little bit. And we also polled our Discord for some other suggestions. John, I'm excited for that one. How about you?
I'm ready. I have a whole list of questions. Let's go, baby.
Oh, yeah. All right, guys. YouTube.com/GameMarksPod for our weekly playthrough videos. A ton of old content. The full library of GMP64 is on there. If you don't know what it is, check it out. John and I rebook the Attitude Era in N64 with some crazy shenanigans that happen there. GameMarksPod.com/shop for all of our exclusive merchandise. ProWrestlingTees.com/GameMarksPod for our shirts. Patreon.com/GameMarksPod for this show. Early and ad-free and access to that Discord that we just spoke about. You can submit your own soft lock questions. You get access to all that for just $5 at Game Marks Pod on all forms of social media. And please do not forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell. It never gets old. We love the bell so much that John got that there's a shirt if you want to support the ringing of the bell. All proceeds from that shirt go towards the Daddy Clash Diaper Fund. And if you have a product or service that you would like to advertise on this podcast, please reach out to us at GameMarksPod@gmail.com. And if you would be so kind as to rate this podcast 5 stars, 4, whatever, just let us know what you think about this podcast on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. With that, I'm very excited for next episode. I think it's going to be cool, different, changing it up. Johnny Clash, whenever you're ready, man, do that thing.
Game over, Marks.
I'm making a Daddy Clash Diaper Fun shirt.
Game Marks Podcast, put them on the radar. Playing rare games, Sega Saturn, no Game Shark. Johnny and George work hard and they play hard. Future endeavor games and put them in the graveyard. From the deep dive to the clash at the feast. How can I get more? That's question of the week. Follow on Twitch, there's nothing that they won't play. Game Marks Podcast every single Monday.